All right, let's call this meeting to order. It is Thursday, April 25th, 2013. Thank you all for coming. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. I'm here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Zoller?
Here.
Let's sign the journal, and we have a motion to approve minutes.
Make a motion to approve them as outlined.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Whiteman?
Yes. Old business, Mrs. Wilson.
I don't think I have any old business today.
Very good, Nicole.
The only thing I have is we do have Attica in place for June 25th for our quarterly meeting at the village office. And we're gonna have the-
That's the June.
What time would that be?
That's the 7 o'clock one.
7 or 7:30?
7:30 for the quarterly meeting.
June 25th, Attic at 7:30.
Great. Mrs. Stacy?
Yes, I would just like to share some information I've learned in doing my research on the $5 vehicle registration permissive tax. I am continuing to do that research. I've learned a great deal since this came up April 2nd. And I still really have one more step that I really want to make sure I complete, and that is a meeting that I'm having with ODOT District 2 in there, which is the Bowling Green office that Seneca County's under, on Monday. However, at this moment, I am inclined to not support this effort for the following reasons. And I've got 4 of them, and if you'll bear with me, I wrote this down because I didn't want to misquote anything, and since these were facts that I've learned, I wanted to have them straight. And again, this is just where I'm at to date. 1, we haven't identified a specific plan of how we would use additional road and bridge monies, one that prioritizes all our needs and gives us a dollar target, the scope, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This plan would have to be in place, obviously, if we do have a county license fee, and that would happen, but we don't have that now. Therefore, the fixed 53 assumptions cannot be guaranteed for all those supporting this for that reason, and a lot of those coming in support are taking that with that I've seen. Number 2, which levy are we looking at implementing? There's 4504.02 or there's 4504.15. 4504.02 would have us collecting on all registrations with the exception of those registered in Attica, Green Springs, Tiffin, and Bloomville, based on them having 4504.06 already in place. 4504.02 also would require all funds from municipal registrations, so those collected from the remaining 4, pending where New Regals is at, okay, knowing that they've got action in place, they're moving forward, to be placed in a fund for use by municipalities upon application to the county. That was a footnote in a receipt report that I saw. Therefore, 4504.02 collects funds to be used from the townships. 4504.15 would have us collecting on all registrations with the exception of those registered in Fostoria and Bettsville based on 4504.172 that they have in place. 4504.15 requires the county to share the municipal registration fees collected with the respective municipality on a 50-50 ratio and sharing the township registration fees collected with the respective townships on a 70-30 ratio. 70 to the county, 30% to the township. Based on using the vehicle registration numbers from 2011, that was the most recent certified numbers we've gathered. And I'm sure there's some margin of error on understanding other vehicle registrations like snowmobiles and other recreational vehicles. But that levy would yield the county approximately $200,000 annually. Okay, either 4504.02, 4504.15. The difference is who is paying. Reason number 3 I'm stating here is vehicle receipts already collected in Seneca County are approximately at $287,000. That is via the municipalities and the townships enacting the levies that are already in place. There are 5 townships and 2 municipalities, again, that's with New Rigo counted, not sure where theirs is at, that do not have any kind of levy now. And then lastly, as a Board of Commissioners, we are not prepared to vote on any vehicle registration permissive tax. Not only based on my opinion and the research that I'm stating above, but because we also are required by the Ohio Revised Code to hold 2 public hearings before we could adopt any such resolution. So there's several things to be done and so forth. And I just thought, because a lot of people were asking me, where have you at? What have you decided? Do you know? And I said, I'm completing my research. I felt some of these things I wanted to bring to light, and the way I have to do that is in this public session. So I just wanted to bring that up under old business.
Okay, thank you. Any other old business?
Nope.
Any old business for me, Mr. Soder?
Nope.
And I do not have any either. Okay, let's move on to new business then.
Business. I have a supplement to the permit appropriations within the Recovery Act Rural Law Enforcement Assistance Fund 222, putting $3,323.12 into contract services. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Ohio Peace Officer Training Grant Fund 152, putting $1,000 into training. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment to be made to the Recovery Act Rural Law Enforcement Assistance Fund 222, moving $5,176.88 from other expense to contract services. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Workforce Investment Act Fund 066, putting $600 into other expense. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Capital Projects Fund 215, putting $48,742 into the fire detection and alarm for the Sheriff's Office. This is what we were discussing Tuesday, and as we said, this is 215's money, not the general fund. We just looked at it.
Although it's money we could have put in the general
Yes,
fund, so
yes.
it's not like it's free money.
Right. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund, putting $15,000 in the court reporter transcript professionals. This is CP1 and CP2 come up. They have their increased juries this year, so they have to do the transcripts and court reportings. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $1,607.88 from equipment to supplies. On Tuesday, when we were going over the equipment that was needed, I had put the total amount for the equipment for the treasurer's office and for the auditor's office, both into equipment. And Mary Jane brought it to my attention that the certain software and monitors are to be paid for out of supplies, so we're just moving that back out of equipment to supplies. I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a contract with Ohio Bridge Corporation, LPA-1301 for Seneca County Road 38-7.47, County Road 12-1.46, County Road 592-11.70 bridge rehabilitation. Let's see, I have a resolution amending Journal 89, page 153, resolution recommending the designation of the Emergency Planning Committee.
He wanted Don's name on there. Don Kelly for the public information thing. At the very bottom where it says other, it couldn't just be other, it had to have, I guess,
Specific
Don's
name.
name, and I think there might have been one other name on there too.
Don was on before as the EMS director, and he would like to continue serving on this committee, but obviously he's not the EMS director anymore, but he would like to continue to serve on this committee, is my understanding.
Okay. And I have a resolution approving the SFY 2014 and 2015 sub-grant agreement between the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, Seneca County Board of Commissioners for the purpose of establishing the terms, conditions, and requirements governing the administration and use of the financial assistance received by or used by the Seneca County Job and Family Services, SCA and PCSA. Long title.
Yeah. Is that
That's all I have.
That's all you have? Okay, is there a motion? Do we accept those?
Yeah, make a motion that we accept the appropriations as outlined.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, any discussion on any of those? I might note, we do have a sup app for the courts. It's one of those things, we talked about sup apps, and this is how your not carryover, unappropriated balance changes. When you
Okay.
have supplemental appropriations, this will change our unappropriated balance, 15,000 less. Anytime you see it coming from the 010 sup app, then it's gonna lower your carryover or your unappropriated balance. Okay, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Zoll,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman.
Yes. Okay, new business, any other new business?
I don't have any.
Nicole? Mr. Zoll, new business?
Nope.
Okay, great. Let's go to public comment. It was 10:30 was the phone system schedule, so let's go to public comment. Anyone out there like to make a public comment? If so, just state your name and feel free. Mike?
Mike Obar. My concern in regard to this vehicle tax that you guys are wanting to try to put on, my understanding is that even a township has the tax and you have the tax, people are getting double taxed for the same thing. And I don't think that's fair. It's bad enough the government double taxes us for our money that we've already paid taxes on. Now the county wants to do the same thing with us. And that's not right. To double tax a person for one thing. So it's just not fair.
Okay.
So, it's just like stealing. I mean, you pay your income taxes, then when you get your refund, you gotta pay money on that. And you've already paid taxes on that money that you got back. And now and they're taxing you again for it. That's just stealing out of your pocket. That's not right.
Thank you. Mr. Lambert, you have next?
The meeting on the 3rd at the old Kroger building, I didn't catch
Yes.
the time for that.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, okay, and that is not our meeting, we won't be running that meeting. They'll be running it, but we will be participants. Okay, thank you. Mr. Bryden?
My name's Tom Breidenbaugh. I have to agree with Fred when he brought that tax license plate fee up. I said that day, I thought it was the smartest thing that ever came out of this office. And I stand by that. If that helps to improve this county, city, towns around us, to get industry in here, get trucks in here, make the roads safer. Hey, I've been around here 80 years and we need this. We need this tax. It's gonna cost me a bunch, but I'm on a fixed income, but I'm willing to go for it. We need it. Our kids need it. The county needs it. I just support it 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else before we get back to Mr. Lambert? Okay, go ahead.
As we talked before, Mr. Wagner, isn't there not a possibility of taking some money from your unappropriated amount and doing the same thing that Commissioner Zoller is trying to do by earmarking some money out of there that would be somewhat equivalent to what the tax would generate?
We could, Mr. Lambert and I talked on the phone this morning, we have we have an unappropriated balance. Normally that whittles toward the end of the year, and we are going to take some out of that for a courthouse replacement to set aside. I don't know what that amount will be, but you do need some unappropriated just for things that come up, because something always comes up. You know, we spent 15 of it this morning, and I guarantee you toward the end of the year, there will be things like food at the sheriff's office and for the detainees and things like that. it's a possibility. It is a possibility. I don't know that I'm real comfortable doing it, but it is a possibility.
We have about, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I thought it was about a $600,000 carryover from last year to this year, and we have a payroll roughly about 400,000.
280.
280, okay,
Is
300,000.
that correct, Julie?
General fund.
Okay,
Okay.
so I would hate, I mean, that's 2 payrolls that we could cover without money coming in, and all of a sudden, we don't have finances, so that would not be something that I would certainly would vote towards, of taking money out of, because in my mind, that the carryover is too small as it is. We need to grow that. I always feel comfortable, and as I mentioned, when I ran for this position, I said I would run it like a business. And in a business perspective, I never felt comfortable until I at least had at minimum of 1 month's cushion to be able to pay all my bills for 1 month. And I think that needs to be the way for the county too. So I would certainly never advocate that. I think the decision that needs to be made by the commissioners and certainly from the support from the people of the county. I understand, I hear what you're saying, and I understand what Commissioner Stacy is saying. We have to decide, are we happy with where things are today? We have a declining population. We have high unemployment, one of the highest unemployments in the state of Ohio. We have one of the unsafest roads, some of the highest fatalities in a rural community in the state of Ohio. If we are happy with that, then by God, let's leave things just the way we are. If we're not, then we have to come up with some way how we're going to go and invest. And that's what we're talking about, investing here today. No different than in my business. And as I said, I run everything like I do in business. If I wouldn't invested in my business years ago, we wouldn't be here today as my company. And that's what I'm trying to do in government. If we don't invest, I heard the statement back in 1870, there was I read someplace that the statement was made, why do we need to pave our roads? Why do we need to pave our roads? The horses and carriages are fine with what we got. That's kind of that same scenario of what we use today. Why do we need to improve our roads? Because we need to promote economic development and we need to promote safety. So a very fundamental question has got to be, it's got to be answered. Are we happy with where we are? If we are, then by God, let's leave things just the way they are. If we're not, then maybe this isn't the way to go about it, the $5 tax. But let's come up with something. Somebody give me some suggestions of how we can move this county forward. I didn't take this job to sit here and just vote on resolutions and just be a rubber stamp. So I'm open for suggestions.
Okay, other public comment? Mike?
When you talk about death rates in Seneca County, a lot of that is from ignorance, not from highways. It's from ignorance. People blowing the stop signs. They know perfectly good well there's a stop sign sitting there, but they just go right through it. It's texting is another one, of ignorance of transportation. So you can't blame the roads for the accident. You got to blame the people because of their ignorance in driving. They're not paying attention to what they're doing. They're not observing what they're doing. They're not acting like people driving cars. I've even seen truck drivers drive their semis like they're driving their cars. Not using turn signals, turning without signaling, moving over to another lane without signaling. And it's the law in the state of Ohio. You have to use turn signals. Fostoria has been cracking down on people who do not use turn signals. I don't know about Tiffin, but I see a lot of violations, and that's including the sheriff's department for not following the law. So it's ignorance of the people that cause the accident. It's not the roads that cause the accidents.
I agree with your analogy there, but we must have more ignorant people in Seneca County than we do in other counties of Ohio.
They're all about the same.
Well, but we have
But
higher.
it's just that don't blame one thing.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a combination.
You know, but it's less roads, it's more ignorance of people driving.
Thank you. Loretta, you have a comment?
I was just thinking in terms of if money were collected from a $5 tax specifically designated for road improvement, that if the 53 project doesn't go forward, then I could see a lot of safety features that our own engineer would be able to do to improve safety in Seneca County. I know recently I was coming up to a stop sign, and I don't remember where, but there were these rumble strips. And those rumble strips in certain intersections would be an improvement. And this $200,000 that we're talking about with this proposed increase in tax is not an astronomical amount for the citizens of Seneca County. And I see it as a very good investment in the safety of the roads in Seneca County. As a taxpayer, I do. I think that sometimes we penny pinch in the wrong places, and that too much penny pinching can ruin things rather than doing repairs, looking forward and seeing what might be coming. And so I would be very supportive of it. Also being on a fixed income and yada, yada, yada. You know, it's not like I'm loaded or anything.
I have made a proposal. Matter of fact, I sent it to the letter to the editor, and I hope it will be printed in the next couple days. And what I am advocating that is that I understand we can't do it for more than, we can't set a set time, but in my term in office, the 4 years, if we're unsuccessful at soliciting money from ODOT at that time, at the end of my 4 years, I would recommend that we would take the tax off. In addition, if we can't get anything from ODOT with this seed money, that we would then distribute that amongst, that funds that are there, distribute it amongst the townships to be used strictly for road improvements. So that is kind of a concession that I made, that is a way to get this thing passed, because I keep hearing over and over, well, what happens if we don't get the money? Because there is no guarantees. If we had this seed money, we'd be able to go down to ODOT and get money. So I would recommend it at the end of my term, I could say definitely I would vote to take the tax off if we don't get anything from the state, and then distribute the funds based on the townships in some kind of formula that we would work out, and that would be used strictly for road improvements in the townships.
Now, in your research, didn't you say that we had to set aside something for cities or villages or something? There was they could request. How did that read? I didn't catch all that.
If the 4504.02 is put in place, not only we don't collect from the municipalities who have 4504.06 in place, but any money we do collect from a municipality who doesn't have anything in place has to be set aside into a specific fund for those municipalities, and they can request via application to the county for those monies. But it has to be separated. Any municipality money collected has to be separated for them.
So if Republic said we want our money that comes from our village, we'd have to set it aside for them. It would
Yes.
not. We couldn't specifically say that's for a county project.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you for doing that. Any other public comment? This issue or any issue? All right, the phone systems, I see we have scheduled for 10:30. Is somebody coming in to talk about that? Or?
No, Commissioner Zoller had asked for some of the department heads and elected officials to come in, and that way he could confirm some of what I had been telling him about, you know, how the
Hi,
systems, we've been having issues with the systems, and potentially if there was some
Okay.
cooperation we could get from
Okay.
other funds for
Okay.
this, so
And the estimate for the phone system was how much? 35 was it?
20,
29 with the $5,000 rebate.
right,
And so it was actually 24,000. And what I was proposing is that apparently we have an issue in the annex and in the RTA building. When I talk with the department heads and so forth of those, except for the judges, they don't have the issue, but the other ones do have it. And so what I was proposing is if we could go to the non-general fund accounts, and if they could contribute something towards that, then we see what the net effect would be for the general funds, then we could make a decision if we need to upgrade it. Also, Stacy, we spend, I think you said $40,000 over the last number of years on
5
maintenance
years.
of the antiquated system.
yep. I mean, for the simple and Julie can help me out, because she can't even get her voicemail set up right, because the system is so non-user friendly. We have to call somebody down from Toledo just to come in to try to set up her voicemail, and she's tried numerous times.
Or
And
to change the time
yep.
to do things that should be done here,
And
whether
just
through a
to
computer.
upgrade the system through AT&T was gonna be about $30,000.
How much do we spend a year on maintenance, just to maintain the current?
We don't maintain it, we call when there's problems.
Okay, but how much do we
Spend in total,
Yeah, to,
well, I mean, over the last 5 years, it's been close to $40,000,
so you can figure roughly about 8,000 a year we're spending to
just do the.
manage the system that we have. So we have a projected cost after the rebate of 24,000.
Right.
To put a total new system in.
Yeah.
So the hope that I had is that, again, the non-general revenue accounts, if they could contribute something towards that, so we can look at the bottom line, what it is coming out of the general funds, then we can make a decision whether it was feasible for us to upgrade that system or not.
Yeah.
And that's just the RTA building in the annex.
Yes,
And-
that
And
system
not
is-
the judges, but
No,
The other
That would include
departments
the
in
judges.
those.
Unfortunately, that system is one
so
whole
say they're gonna have a
system.
problem once we change this one, so that's what curious.
Yeah, it's one system, so all the phones in the system would be upgraded together.
And this covers all of them, the
Yes.
24.
Yep. So, I mean, that's unfortunate. The judges don't seem to have as much trouble as everybody else does.
Yeah,
They're
I
lucky.
know that Judge Kelby's in the back of the room. I was hopeful to get if they had issues, we could get more of a greater share from the judges from it, but,
I pick up the phone, it works.
yeah, as I said, Judge Schupp and talking with Judge Kelby, they don't seem to have the same issues that everyone else does within their building, so it was very difficult to get funds out of them when they didn't have a problem, when everyone else does, so we have to look at the other users in the RTA and the annex to see if it's feasible, because I would not advocate the commissioners to spend 24,000 on our own.
And we do have funds in 215 for our capital improvements that, you know, and that's money that you guys would have to decide what to use for, but that money could be used instead of pulling it all out of the general fund. And I think if we look, when Maximus does our cost allocation, you know, some of those costs for the new system would be put into the cost allocation on the back end of the system, and
Were you able
unless
to
we
get an
would,
assessment from the other departments and how much they could contribute out of non-general fund accounts?
not yet.
And how many non-general, general revenue funds or accounts are there? I mean, we're talking,
Well, the auditor's office, the treasurer's office, recorder's office, he has some non-general, limited
Regional planning.
non-general, regional planning, park district, but they have one phone and then, I did speak to Mary Warren. She did want to be here today because she has a lot of issues with her system. She has phones that aren't working at all, and the disadvantage, we haven't purchased them yet because they're about 3 times more expensive to buy, and we have to find one that's been refurbished, phones for that system. So we haven't purchased yet. She's been making it work until we could try to get something new and something done. So,
Do you have any comments, Julie?
Just some history, I don't know how much fellow commissioners know about this system. Actually, I brought my phone file. I'm clearly on the facts as far as a date for the phone that we're using, it's February 2000. So the system's well over 13 years old. Do we have issues? Certainly, and when we do call Toledo for the gentleman to come down, I talked to him one day because they are housed on our floor, the system is. And he goes, I don't know if I can do that. And I'm like, why can't you? Well, we print on a dot matrix printer, and we don't have any printer cartridges to put in the printer to print the report I need to see what's going on. I'm like, okay.
Because the
So-
system's so old.
Yes, yes. So I just came for the history aspect of it.
When Mr. Zoller talks about non-general fund options. Obviously, REA is the biggest possible option. Well, when you look at GTAC, there's nothing there. When you look at Park District, there's nothing
I
there.
always have a bullseye.
I know. But I thought we'd broach the subject. Would you rather just comment to Stacy at some?
Yeah, I was not prepared to
Okay,
comment on that
okay,
today.
okay. All right. Well, why don't we have you contact these folks personally?
Okay.
The different, 4 or 5 different ones, but obviously we know Park District and some of these, they're just, the GTAC is pretty well tapped out.
Yep.
See what you find, and,
Yep.
and we do have a deadline on this.
Yes, as
For
of the
the-
30th. The 30th.
The 30th is next week.
Tuesday. Yeah,
Today's-
Tuesday.
And the reason the deadline is they
discount goes away or something?
gave us an incentive. There was a rebate program of $5,000. The original bid was 29. They would give us a rebate of 5,000 if the decision was made before the end of the month.
Let's see if we can extend that. I mean, it can't hurt to ask, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
If we decide,
Good thinking.
if we decide on the 30th and call them?
As long as I get them ordered,
Because that's our next meeting,
yeah. As long as I get them ordered.
and you will be in Columbus.
I won't be,
that
I'll be in Columbus on the 30th.
Okay.
I would be supportive of it in advance if we can reduce that cost down to get, I'm hopeful 50% contribution from the other sources. That may be a little ambitious there, but
Yeah, I think you'd,
Because I would say the
that would be
majority of
wonderful. That would be
the,
wonderful, I'd love that.
majority of it is general fund. I mean, the judges still are general fund, and Mary Ward has part of hers is general fund. So I don't know if 50 would be quite right, but I'll talk to them individually.
All right, maybe you can talk with him before the 30th,
Okay.
what you find out, and get his feeling for it, and then we can comment on the 30th, but we definitely want to make a decision next meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We have WSS at 10:45. I have not seen Joyce yet. I assume we're waiting on.
I'm not Joyce.
You look like Joyce. All right. Any other business for the board other than the WSOS that anyone would like to bring up? Mr. Majors, you just come in to get warm today?
No, sir, it's a beautiful day. I came in to show my face and answer any questions that the board may have or anyone may have about EMS.
Okay.
Plus he had paperwork.
if I can ask, with the past director and with some of the coordinators, they discussed the funding and to be able to sustain a quality EMS program long-term. And I would ask that you investigate that with the coordinators and try to come up with a comprehensive plan that we can continue at the least amount of cost as possible, continue a quality EMS program in Seneca County.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's something needs to be reevaluated, because I understand there's issues under the current system and the current financing system that's available.
We're underway with your direction there. And just so the board knows, I hate to sit and talk, so I'll stand up. Just so the board knows, I mean, we run 7 EMS ambulances all over the county geographically. It's a fairly large county if you look at it on a map. And we do it with 0 personnel costs. So of the 88 counties in Ohio, we're one of the few that still do that. So I want to make sure that we all remember that the people that we're doing this with, the 0 personnel cost is volunteers. And those guys get out of their bed every night and they go out and they take care of our residents. And they do that because they're compassionate and because they care about us. That being said, the budget that we do this under is very small, comparatively speaking, to anyone else that would run 7 ambulances. Plus, the only paid people we have are our echo units. And the echo unit is a heck of a good program, and we're gonna make sure that it remains that. And I'm gonna go out and like I talked to Holly Stacy about the some job fairs and things like that at local schools, and we're gonna try and recruit. Some of the things that we offer and what brings those volunteers in is the education, free education. It's not really free because you're committing time. And we're gonna try and do it through that. And I have some other ideas that I'd like to talk to the board about outside of an open meeting, maybe talk to each one of you about some ideas that we have to save some money and also take advantage of existing funds in a different way. So, if you want to use a cliche, we'll say we're thinking outside of the box. But really what it is we have money in certain areas that we're not using in an appropriate manner, I believe. And maybe that's just my personal feelings, but we'll find out and we'll talk about it. And I'm gonna talk to the coordinators and the fire chiefs of who I've got on their calendars, and also the sheriff. And we're gonna talk to all these people that are leaders in the community, and we're gonna iron this out. But thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your efforts, and please convey our thanks to the volunteers, because that's, like you say, they're the backbone of this, and we appreciate what they do. I know that you're working on the future of the system, and we will wait to see what you come up with.
We're okay, we just need some tweaking.
You and the coordinators need, okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comment other than the WSOS? All right, is WSOS ready, do you know? I don't see Joyce yet, not yet, okay. Let's just recess for a moment until the rest of them get here, and then we'll call it back to order.
Recess.
Yeah, recess.